But I think that we're doing a better job as far as like, I guess, adapting to the new age that we're in since COVID to have these creative ways of expressing ourselves. And I think with that comes a lot of more people who are willing to share their stories. But we need as many as possible, especially in this crisis of knowledge and truth. So
Mhm. All right. Yeah, the tools of the age to tell story is also another thing to talk about because it is important. Times have changed. See, I was saying before, okay, I'm making reference to the book a number of times now. Anyway, the book is available also on Amazon. I mean, there is stream water because the people at the time, or the storyteller at the time, Okobuje, was literally just doing oral narration. Even though oral narration is actually one of the very earliest form of storytelling, but that is not the only way to tell story. We can actually use tools of the age because if you need to do oral narration, maybe have people sit around you, you are going to tell a story to a limited amount of people because there is just a certain amount of people that can gather in one place at any time. But now we have internet. You are somewhere far hundreds of kilometers away from where I am, and we are talking, we are hearing each other, we are sharing, we are feeling each other's moment and space and attention, and we are learning from you. You are learning from me. I am learning from you, and this is really very powerful. This is the tools of the age. How can we leverage this in storytelling so that it can be for our because the purpose of telling story is going to be to promote a certain interest. Okay, now let me back out a little bit. What I mean is that storytelling, we all tell it anyway, whether we know it or not, whether we know how to tell it or not, whether we are interested in it or not, because it's so built into the human consciousness that you cannot avoid it. Whether you are an educator, you are as being a teacher, you are a religious leader, you are a family member, you are working in a place, are you not going, if you are working in a place, are you not going to tell what happened between you and your co-worker? Maybe when the employer of labor came and it tells you this is how you are going to do execute this particular task, and you are going to re-narrate that to other people that were not there. That is story. If you are a religious leader, you are going to be reading a sacred text or giving advice to people, and then you are using some preamble to be able to elaborate and illustrate to the people. Those are story. Whether we know it or not, all of us are storyteller. But all of us are not telling story strategically. I think that is
mhm.
what is most important. That how can we use the tools of the age that we have today, the internet, the Skype of the world, we have the social media. How can we use this strategically to tell the story? Not just tell a story, which of course we already do, all of us, but tell a story strategically.
Yeah. I The first thing is building a community, building I guess like if you're talking about business wise, like building an audience, building a market for it. But really, I look at it as like building that community that you have people who are doing similar things, but also is interested in what that looks like in that support, right? Because this is something that isn't mainstreamed, so it has to be that you have that community that first off, or are actively building it once you already start doing your storytelling. Strategically, there's so many different ways that you can go about it, but I think the first thing is to continue using the tools that exist to be able to capture it and spread it across like countries, across like digital zones, or whatever the case may be. Like have it as many places as possible to be shared and to be heard. And then that goes with marketing, like who, based off of your community, based off your audience, how do you want to market this? How is the best methods to market it? Essentially, what are other ways that you can gain a bigger audience? Like there's so many things to be thought about, but I think the biggest concern is ensuring that people know how important their story is to be told, and then telling it in different facets of having it published online or wherever else physically if you must, and then having community around that, building a community around that. And I think the building of the community may be the hardest thing, is finding the right community, but don't be discouraged with that. I think that's also like the fun part, finding different people that are able to be a part of this magical process of storytelling and listening, and whatever the case else that entails.
Mhm. All right, thank you for that. You drag out into storytelling from the point of view of business, because yes, storytelling can be used in very many ways. It can be used even in the military, in that you tell a certain story to the soldier who are fighting. That is why they are there, because they would not be there. Okay, I know soldiery is because you are going to fight, because you are going to be paid, but it go far beyond that. How do you build the image of enemy into you, so that, or into the people that are following you, so that they are going to kill the other people? Because now essentially what we are doing, unlike what other species do, because the lion do not organize to just go and kill 20 elephant and leave them there. They don't go to kill 20 giraffe and leave it there on the street, and then go home and start celebrating. Ah, we have killed 20 giraffe today. Only human beings do this. That we organize ourselves and we say among ourselves that those people that are in the other territory are our enemy. We define who they are. They are not yet probably done what we say they are going to do, but we believe it, we construct it that they might do this. For this reason, we build up a story that help to justify what they might possibly do. Therefore, we go there to attack them. Now,
Mm.
how do we build up this story in the people, so that the other people were sitting down together the other day and just laughing? We are not taking gun and shooting them. We see that they are dying. We are just killing them. And yeah, we go. One person die, we march over that, move to the next one, we kill. Then move to the next one, we kill. Move to the next one, we kill. We forget now that we all are human beings. Even though we know that we are all human beings, but because of the story that we are told, or because of the story we buy into, or because of the story we are used or exposed to, for this moment, those people are just objects that can be massacred, used, or killed. I am trying to see how powerful story can be to us.
Yeah, I mean, like thinking about the example I talked about with the military, they're using not only storytelling, but methods of brainwashing, essentially, or using psychological control. And the military, the US military, or even let's even take a step back and look back at like enslavement, right? People, prisoners of war. That's what I like to call them. I don't like to call them slaves, because they're not slaves. They were enslaved people. Usually they were the most uh, high functioning people that came from various communities or societies or kingdoms, like in on the continent of Africa, right? Like, um, so I really don't like to call them slaves. I like to call them prisoners of war or enslaved peoples. Um, they were taken from wherever they were taken. They were kidnapped, taken, whatever the case may be, deceived, and then they were brought to the Americas. And at first, they had no idea what this English language was. Now, really think about this. They had no idea what this English language was. They only spoke the languages that they had. And more than likely, they knew multiple languages, right? But they didn't know this one. They didn't know the English language. And so they struggled immensely learning this English language. And it wouldn't be until generations later that they would be able to learn it and master it. And even to this day, we still have people who are illiterate, but there is the in between stage of people being able to master the English language that are African, and the people who only knew their language. And in that in between stage,